deputy superintendent, and our governing board, we have a community forum in which we will be seeing 5 candidates for our current vacancies. We have 3 current principal vacancies, and those candidates are here to answer questions for us that were generated from the community, listening sessions, and input that we've been receiving along this way as we got prepared for tonight. Tonight, you'll see if you're in the audience, there are QR codes that are on the back of your chairs, potentially QR codes that were up front just a little bit ago. But there are QR codes there. There are also QR codes that will be dropped into the link on Zoom. There'll be a survey that's dropped there that we encourage you to take advantage of providing your input once this form is complete tonight. If you do have colleagues that are thinking that it's at the district board or district office or that it's already started, please text them and let them know they're still able to come. Again, like I said, we have 5 candidates that will be seen tonight. The candidates as listed on the survey, the input that you're going to be providing, their names are listed there in alphabetical order. I will tell you tonight that may not be the order you're seeing them in. So when you're responding, just know that on the survey that you received, their names are alphabetical order, but tonight they will come in a different order. The way the process will work is the candidate will come in through this door here to my left. They will come to the podium to respond to questions that I'll be reading off camera ultimately. After the candidate is finished with the questions, we'll clap it up for them, they'll head out, and the next candidate will come in. That will be our cadence through the night. This process is timed. Each candidate will have 20 minutes. They're aware of that, okay? But they will definitely be responding authentically. They did not have these questions in advance, so we want to encourage them along the way with nice smiles. And I appreciate you all coming forward that are sitting there out in the audience, and we're going to get started so we can stay right on time. We're a minute over. I promised 5:30. It's 5:31. Look at tonight already go right. All right. Our very first candidate coming to see us tonight is Miss Tiffany Gilbert. Hello, Ms. Gilbert. Welcome to tonight's community forum.
Thank you.
As shared, you will be responding to questions that were submitted by our community from listening sessions and input that we've been receiving since we realized that there would be vacancies. So I will be reading a process, or I will be reading those questions to you tonight. The process, remember, is timed. Okay? All right. In 1 minute or less, please introduce yourself and summarize your leadership experience.
Hello. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Buenas tardes. Gracias por venir en esta tarde. This is what happens when we're nervous and we try to speak Spanish. Necesito aprender más, pero yo trato. I'm Tiffany Gilbert. I am the current principal at John R. Davis School. I've served in that role last year and this year, but I've been in Roosevelt for quite a while. I began my career in Roosevelt at Martin Luther King School in 2007 as a kindergarten teacher. I've served in various roles in Roosevelt, including the role of district level coach, an assistant principal, and an instructional coach at Irene Lopez School. Outside of my experience in Roosevelt, I've also served as a high school teacher in an alternative education setting briefly, as well as an adjunct college professor and a professional development consultant. When my staff and I learned that Davis would be closing at the end of this school year, we were really devastated, of course, about that. But I am incredibly proud of our staff. They've really embraced the change. We're building some excitement about transitioning over to Sunland School. And I am excited for the potential opportunity to lead at another Roosevelt school.
Thank you. Question number 1. Our school board has adopted academic performance goals that will challenge our organization and require collaboration and continued improvements to daily instruction. Please share your experience in managing this type of change.
Yes, our school board has set some very ambitious goals that our students by 2028 will reach 45% proficiency in both ELA and in math by that time. So at Davis School, we set our student academic goals this year to ensure that incrementally students will be making progress year to year so that they will be able to achieve those goals when that time comes. I have an incredible instructional coach. I have an incredible assistant principal. We meet each week. We hold instructional leadership team meetings, and we are looking at data together. We're looking at our Learning Walk data, and we're making decisions on how we will move forward and work with teachers to ensure that students are well supported in the classrooms. So from there, we're making decisions. We are protecting time for teachers to collaborate and to, ensure that they are planning for every student's success.
Thank you. Question 2. What specific systems or routines do you consider essential for managing an efficient, organized, and effective school? Please share your experiences implementing these types of systems.
So systems and routines are important in really every area. I do consider this to be one of my best strengths is logistics and operations on our campus. This is important. Having systems in place is essential because that ensures a consistent experience for students and for staff. And also it results in a sense of safety for staff and for students, ensuring that everything is well run. We can count on things running well. Everybody kind of knows what to do and what to expect. And we can focus more on the business of teaching and learning, the reason why we are all there, right? To ensure student success. So one area at Davis School that we have been really focusing in on is building a PBIS system, right, to ensure that we have school-wide positive behavior systems in place. On our culture and climate survey, as we were working with our team over last summer to review and analyze those results, it became clear to us that our students were not having a sense of safety specifically within the community. And we talked about how can we ensure that students are feeling a sense of safety when they are here at school. And really consistency, we know that through consistency, students do that can really be beneficial for students who are lacking a sense of safety. So we plan for specific ways that we plan specific routines that we would implement across campus every day. So this is just one example of a system, right? So we start our mornings in the same way. We make sure that students are greeted at the door. We begin with community circles in the morning. We ensure that everybody is following the same schedule from day to day, so students can know what to expect. And then we have worked together to implement and refine all of our campus systems, I would say, as needed, arrival, dismissal, lunch, how are we moving around campus, those kinds of things.
Question 3. How would you strengthen staff relationships across grade levels and departments to foster a united school culture? Please share examples of how you have done this in the past.
I take great pride, and I know my school community does as well, in our culture at Davis School. We do have incredible relationships. It is a family. I think some of the reasons for that are that we take celebration very seriously. We take fun very seriously, but we're also working hard and staying focused and doing the work as well. So, for example, yes, celebration is very important to us. Tomorrow we have our John R. Davis namesake event. It'll be our last one, so it's very special to us, where we will come together. We'll honor our namesake, Mr. Davis, and we'll also honor our legacy and our memories at Davis School. On Monday, we had our sports banquet, right? We had a huge turnout with our families who supported us with, oh man, we had tons of food, tons of fun. We are very excited because both our boys and girls won the track championship on Saturday. Our boys won the championship for our division in basketball. So we have a thriving sports program, which we're all very excited about and take pride in. You know, when we come together on Wednesdays for staff meetings, we're building community. We are always starting with fun and celebrations, which is really important because being a teacher or being in education in general or a leadership position or whatever is a lot of work, right? And especially with, reduced staffing on campuses, there's a lot of work being done by fewer people, right? So it makes it a lot better and a lot easier when you feel like your coworkers are family with you and you guys are all doing it together. Also, like when there is, I lead by example, right? I lead with integrity. Like I don't participate in drama, and right, like I'm not afraid to have conversations when folks are like, when conversations are needing to be had, and I have the trust of and respect of my staff to be able to have those conversations. So I think those are some of the ways that we've ensured a really positive and wonderful culture at Davis.
How would you ensure consistency and discipline and enforce clear behavior expectations across the school? Share examples of how you would address issues like attendance, tardiness, and student behaviors.
So when my staff and I came together in the spring to identify what are some of the most highest priority needs that our school has, it was identified that there was a really important need to put a school-wide positive behavior system in place. So that has had a tremendous effect for us this school year. The fact that, so we identified that that was a need. Also, that was, when we're looking at our climate and culture survey data as well, that reinforced that. So I'm very lucky to have committed teachers who want to come in and work over the summer. So the folks that came in, we worked very diligently to put together a very comprehensive system for behavior system, right? And that, of course, includes school-wide incentives, class incentives. Our kids are so jazzed about earning their Cobra Cash and visiting the Cobra Cart. Also, like the conversation and the decision-making amongst teachers on really what should expectations be, in all of these different settings, and being able to roll that out with students in assemblies, just like first day of school. was powerful, right? Especially for our junior high. I would say we got off to a great start with them. Let's see here, what else I'm missing? I think also a part of that PBIS system is ensuring that we're all like responding in a consistent way. Every staff member, right, when we do need to redirect a behavior, and that also like admin is responding in a consistent way when admin is dealing with something. So students we've got firm boundaries in place, like all across the system. We try to also use our PBIS system to promote positive attendance, to decrease chronic attendance, chronic absenteeism, and tardiness as well. Those are things that are also built into our 8th grade contract, our 7th grade contract that we will be putting into place or, continuing throughout the spring. That was probably a long enough response.
Question 5.
Yes.
One of our superintendent guardrails is to ensure a holistic approach towards student development. This includes interscholastic athletics, performing arts, student leadership development. What impact do you believe sports, performing arts, and programs such as Leader in Me have on school culture? What skills and experience can you offer in this guardrail?
Yes, I would wholeheartedly agree that in order to provide a well-rounded education for a child, we can't just only be focusing on the core content areas. The arts are very important, and sports programming is important as well. I actually, prior to becoming an educator, I actually have a bachelor's degree in fine arts. So the arts is important to me. And I worked as a designer for a little while before becoming involved with education. I was highly involved in the visual arts and the performing arts as a student. So I know what that has done for me as a student and my development and my growth. And then sports as well. I was a student athlete as well. And again, like sports is so important to our culture and our identity at Davis School. Like our students I'm so proud of them because like last year, they certainly did not conduct themselves on the court, on the field in a way that I might be proud of. But this year, I just, like at our track meet, they were so encouraging and supportive with one another. Like I could have almost cried about it. Like there's so many important skills to be learned through participating in sports. We also know that kids who are engaged in extracurricular activities are less likely to get involved with drugs and gangs and things that could really make them be disconnected. Also, kids want to come to school to play sports and participate in the arts, and then they come to school instead of not coming to school. So it's also a huge draw for families, of course, as we're trying to increase our enrollment. To have students participate in those types of things.
Last question. How would you approach increasing enrollment? Please share any strategies or experiences you've had in attracting new families and retaining current ones.
Well, I think first and foremost, families need to feel as though their kids are safe and happy at school. Like that really, at the foundation of it, that needs to be in place. If parents are seeing that their kids are happy that they're feeling that their child is safe. And like if something is coming up that needs to be addressed, that maybe admin needs to become involved with and it's appropriately dealt with, right? And we're building trust. Like that is essential first and foremost in us being able to retain our families and through word of mouth with everybody knows everybody in South Phoenix, right? So like when we're doing a good job, we attract many other like family members and friends and neighbors of our families. Additionally, I think it's very important, and what I've tried to do at Davis is to listen to our families and to learn what is important to them, what do they value, what's going well in the school, what's like not going well, what do they want to see more of, and to be able to be responsive with those needs and values is important. And again, our programming is really important as well. I'm very excited for our Davis students to have the opportunity to be at Sunland next year, to be able to experience some of the programming that they have not had access to at Davis School. Like when we had our showcase at Sunland, our kids were so jazzed and all wanting to participate in the musical over there and STEM and everything. Okay. So again, the more programming we can offer, that will also be attractive for our families as well.
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert. That concludes our questions for you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you again for being here. Appreciate it.
For those of us online, we'll take just a moment and then our next candidate will be out. For those of you in person, you can see that. We're going to take just a moment for our next candidate to be out. Okay, our next candidate is coming forward. Please welcome Mr. Chris Smith.
Hello?
Microphone is working. Here we go. All right, Mr. Smith, as we talked before, there are audience members that are online on Zoom, and we have our audience here up front. This is a time process. I will start with the very first question. In 1 minute or less, please introduce yourself and summarize your leadership experience.
My name is Chris Smith. I'm currently a principal in New Hampshire. I'm moving back to Arizona in June. The last 11 years, I've been a principal at different K-8 schools. I lived in Arizona for 12 years. I worked in residential treatment. I taught high school English, and then I moved back east because I wanted my son to experience kind of old history. And then he grew up and moved away, and so now I'm moving back. And I've had it with the cold, so it's like every time I go back, I forget.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Sure.
Our first question tonight. Our school board has adopted academic performance goals that will challenge our organization and will require collaboration and continued improvements to daily instruction. Please share your experience in managing this type of change.
So there's a lot of different ways that you have to take a look at it. One is certainly with teachers. I think professional learning communities is something I'm big on. You get teachers together in a room and one of them brings a lesson plan and says like, hey, this is kind of what I'm doing. And the other teachers say, that's not what you're doing. That's just what you thought you were doing. And so there's a lot of ego threat to that and creating a feeling of being able to put yourself out there and really take an honest look at yourself and the work that you're doing. That's what gets us to doing the best we can for kids. I think also families are involved in that. We need students to be bought in, and that means parents have to be bought in. And so even though the teachers are the ones driving instruction and we're looking at numbers and we're trying to make the kids more successful, at the end of the day, if the kids aren't buying what we're selling, then nobody's getting better. Like, it has to be relevant to students. It has to be relevant to families. It has to matter to the teachers and be something that they can love.
Thank you. Question 2. What specific systems or routines do you consider essential for managing an efficient, organized, and effective school? Please share your experience implementing these types of systems.
So academically, we use our RTI program. So if students are struggling, like say a third grader's having a hard time in English, they go to their English class, in my school, they come out, then they go and get a second hit. And then we track them really closely for 6 weeks. And then after 6 weeks, we come back together and look at what kind of progress did they make? What are they still struggling with? Are they all of a sudden, yeah, they've got it. And then they come out of RTI, they go right back into class regular. Or maybe something's just not firing. Students trying, they're doing everything they can do, and they're just not picking it up. Then maybe we need to look at something else and make some changes in that way. Also, behavior wise, I have a system where I keep track of when students come to see me. And so if a student does a thing, we talk about it. If they come back and they do it again, we talk about it again, but I can point back to the time they were here before. And so oftentimes students won't even see the patterns in their behavior until you can concrete show them, hey, this is the same way. Like, you get frustrated and you pop off and maybe you're not even thinking about it, but what can we do different next time? Because this is not working for you and it's not working for us. And so the goal is, like, when they can start to see their own behavior, they can be in control of their behavior, then they can move forward.
Thank you. Question 3. How would you strengthen staff relationships across grade levels and departments to foster a united school culture? Please share examples of how you have done this in the past.
Sure. Professional learning communities is one of those ways where you engage, and teachers bring their stuff and they throw it out for everybody to see. And you take turns in doing that. But I think also, like, developing lessons together as a team in those professional learning communities as well, and that go across different, God, I can't think of the word now. So if we have a math lesson, it's also science. If we have an English lesson, it's also social studies. And so coming together and helping the teachers to see those things, because then they can leverage each other's expertise. So I've seen, decent English lessons in a social studies class doing battlefield poetry from World War II. And my thought was like, oh, that was a pretty good English lesson. And then to think, but that's not even an English class. Like, that's next level social studies, And the same thing happens in math and science, where we took some kids out, we went and did a walk. The kids timed the walk. We got the distance at the end, and then we figured out the rate of each of the groups. And meanwhile, they're all searching for Pokemon and all kinds of things. But, at the end, it was very applicable to the science, to the math, and it all kind of came together.
Thank you. Question 4. How would you ensure consistency in discipline and enforce clear behavior expectations across the school? Share examples of how you would address issues like attendance, tardiness, and student behaviors.
Yeah, so that's another one, reaching out to parents. Tardiness is hard. We have kids at my school now, and the parents call me up and say, like, hey, I'm trying to get him there. He won't get up. What can I do? And so we go over some strategies and we talk back and forth. I think I'm a big fan of phone calls over emails. Sometimes that's necessary, and it's just a better call. Like, if we can have that relationship with the parents, then when they're struggling, I know what they're struggling with. We can get ahead of it. We've had a kid at my school where he, for whatever reason, he had a hard time getting into the school, and he wasn't a kid that you had to talk into it. He just wanted somebody to walk with him. So I go out in the morning and walk him in, and then over time, like, we gradually withdraw that support, and now he comes in by himself, no problem. So I think it's just kind of leverage those things. But if you talk about behavior as well, like misbehavior, students should know before they do an action what the consequence is going to be for that action. And I think in order for them to know that, you have to be consistent with what you do. So if a student does something wrong, then they should get the same consequence. I mean, there are other things that get taken into account. If a student's just lost his grandmother or something, and he comes in and he's popping off and yelling at the teachers, I'm more inclined to pull him in my office and have a conversation, especially if I know about it because I have that relationship with the parents. But generally, that aside, if you come in and you are disrespectful to the teacher, you get the same consequence across the board.
Thank you. Question number 5. One of our superintendent guardrails is to ensure a holistic approach towards student development. This includes interscholastic athletics, performing arts, and student leadership development. What impact do you believe sports, performing arts, and programs such as Leader in Me have on school culture? What skills and experiences can you offer in this guardrail?
So I think it makes school relevant for the student, and also every kid is good at something. And if you can find that thing, if it's sports, if it's leadership, whatever it is, you find that thing, you support them in that, and then you leverage that into the other areas of school. That makes school a fun place to be. Like nobody wants to go to a job every day that they're bad at and can't do. Nobody, not kids, not grown-ups. And so if we find the thing that they're good at, that they enjoy, that rings their bell, we help them be better at that, and we show them how that's applicable to other areas. And also, there is that building of resiliency, right? Like, yes, I like to do the Rubik's Cube, but I can't always be doing the Rubik's Cube. So why don't we put that away for now? We're going to work on this work, and then we're going to come back and do something that we both enjoy doing.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, last question.
All right.
How would you approach increasing enrollment? Please share any strategies or experiences you've had in attracting new families and retaining current ones.
So I have had experience with that in Vermont, especially schools are closing left and right because a lot of kids were leaving to go homeschool or for charter school. And so the first thing I would do is contact people that are leaving and find out why. Because maybe they have an actual reason and maybe they have a misperception about what's going on in the school, or maybe it's something that we could do in a quick fix to make sure those families stay with us. At the end of the day, like we have a product, we have success for kids. That's what we're selling, and that's what we're building, and we need to make sure that everybody sees that that's what's happening. And so if a parent is leaving because they felt that their student's getting a more robust STEAM activity somewhere else, like how can we match that? If it's they want to go play football and then this other team has a better track record or they have a better coach or better practice schedule, whatever it is, like how do we match that? So how do we, as best we can, make those things work for us the same way that they're supposedly working for other people? But I think it's also individual. So you just have to really be open in those conversations to say, what is it that's driving you, and how can we bring that back to the school?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. That completes our questions for tonight.
That was really fast, I think.
It was great, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
For those of us online and in person, we're going to take just a moment so you can gather your notes from the first 2 candidates before we bring the next candidate out. Remember, we said the link that is online and on your QR code is listed for the candidates in alphabetical order. You have not seen them in alphabetical order tonight, so we want to make sure you can take a moment and gather the notes for the first 2, and then we'll be right back at it again at 6:20. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We hope you were able to take some good notes for our first two candidates. We're going to continue tonight with Mr. Louis Robles. He'll be joining us momentarily. Hello, Mr. Robles.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Mr. Robles, as we've discussed, tonight will be a timed process.
Okay.
I'd like you to start in 1 minute or less by introducing yourself and summarizing your leadership experience.
Okay. So my leadership experience really started when I was a teacher. I was a teacher, middle school teacher for about 10 years. And I got approached by my principal one time, and she asked me if I ever considered going into administration because I was very active in the school, and I really loved the role and really wanted to grow. So, got experience with moving up into roles like instructional coach, middle school assistant principal, also high school principal. So, my journey has been a progressive one, and it's been steady.
Thank you. Our first question tonight is our school board has adopted academic performance goals that will challenge our organization and will require collaboration and continued improvements to daily instruction. Please share your experience in managing this type of change.
Yeah, I've been a part of a few different schools where we blended schools. We closed schools when I was an assistant principal. It's about 10 years ago now. We closed one of the schools, moved that population of students over to our school, and had to blend the schools together. And that was a lot of learning about what the culture at one school was like, and how could we blend those students at our school. Another one was when I was actually an instructional coach. We did the same thing. We blended schools together and brought those two schools together, and really focused on the culture and environment of the school and bringing those students in and setting examples and expectations.
Thank you. Question 2. What specific systems or routines do you consider essential for managing an efficient, organized, and effective school? Please share your experience implementing these types of systems.
Okay. Routines are big. Everybody has to have a routine. From day one, what are the expectations and routines from administration, teachers, staff, everyone knowing their role and knowing what is expected of them. And we pass that on to the students too. So creating that culture of routine and building relationships. So that's a key feature to that, because you need to get to know everybody. You need to get to know the students. You need to get to know the teachers. And so really making sure that the relationship piece is strong, that it builds, because you have to build trust. And I come from, my experience in education has always been with students that if you can get their heart, you can get their mind. And that's always been my approach is they will let you teach them anything if they know that you love them and you want them to be successful.
Question 3. How would you strengthen staff relationships across grade levels and departments to foster a united school culture? Please share examples of how you have done this in the past.
Okay. So same thing, really similar. It's fostering those relationships. building the strong sense of community, having everybody know that that community is united, everyone that goes to that community is safe, everyone is respectful. There is an expectation when students come in of what they're expected to do and how they're expected to behave, but also making sure that there's buy-in, right? And that there's nobody that really has different values working at the school, and that the students, because they pick up on that pretty quickly. They'll know which teachers are not and which staff members are not valuing the same things as everybody else. So really, has to be that shared commitment and a shared responsibility.
Thank you. Question number 4.
Mhm.
How would you ensure consistency in discipline and enforce clear behavior expectations across the school? Share examples of how you would address issues like attendance, tardiness, and student behaviors.
Okay. Well, it definitely starts with the expectation and clear communication. So clearly communicating to the students. I know having students from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. I know that 8th graders, once they get a little bit older, they tend to be a little bit more unmotivated to come to school. And I would really foster, and what I've done in the past is foster that it's a continuation of their education. And just because they're getting older and maybe a little bit more responsible, that doesn't mean that you just let them do whatever they're going to do and act however they're going to act. There has to still be that parent communication and parent involvement. And so I would foster the parent communication as key to that. And because, when students go through school and they have challenges, they really need that support from home.
Thank you. Question number 5. One of our superintendent guardrails is to ensure a holistic approach towards student development. This includes interscholastic athletics, performing arts, and student leadership development. What impact do you believe sports, performing arts, and programs such as Leader in Me have on school culture? What skills and experiences can you offer in this guardrail?
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, I've been a coach. That's actually what got me into education. Was I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to be a mentor. I wanted to make a difference in students' lives. And from there, the idea of empowering my students, and having that approach to involve students and involve them. Sports saved me when I was younger. I think my coach was probably more influential than my parents at times. And so that's what built inside of me was every teacher can also be a coach. They're also a life coach, and they're there to help students along the way. Fine arts, I worked in a fine arts school. And so that was a great experience. So as a science teacher, I was not an actor. I did not, even holding a microphone. I didn't know how to hold a microphone. Probably still don't know how to hold a microphone, but I love being able to get students to have fun and engage in the curriculum. And so even as a science teacher, I would have them perform on the stage. We would do skits, we would do plays, we would do things. And so they really experience the fun of school. Yes, science is probably the most fun subject to teach, but when they're doing the water cycle and they're falling down like rain and they're running around on the ground, the learning actually really gets more instilled into them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Robles, last question.
Okay.
How would you approach increasing enrollment? Please share any strategies or experiences you've had in attracting new families and retaining current ones.
Yeah, that's an increasing enrollment really starts with that involving the community, involving parents to come in and see the school. So I would invite parents in for opportunities to see what the school is like, what the community is like, the type of teachers that we have. It's really a recruiting tool, right? When everybody that walks into the school, the first thing they see is, the front desk, or they see somebody. So it starts with that, and giving them tours. That's one thing that I really love to be able to invite parents in and show them around the school. Having performance nights, having those plays, having sporting events, having those opportunities for parents from the community to come in and see, really showcases the school, and getting out there. I mean, I've been in schools where we've had the news come over to see the performances that we're doing, and the community. We had food trucks and a really big community event. So really, just increasing that will increase a lot of the parents' involvement, and knowing that school is a fun school to go to, and their child's going to be safe, and they're going to learn a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That concludes our questions for tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
I don't know if it's appropriate to say, but coming to the stage is going to be Miss Sylvia Miller. She's up next. For those of us on Zoom tonight, you can't see the audience, who some people are dying to have this microphone. I've been trying to pass it, but they won't take it from me. So I'll continue to be the MC of this event. Please welcome Miss Sylvia Miller.
Hello. Okay. Buenas
Ah.
noches todos. Bienvenidos ahora a esta parte de la entrevista que tenemos que tener una experiencia. Welcome everyone. This is part of the interview process that we all have to go through. So welcome and thank you for being here. Gracias por estar aquí hoy.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. In 1 minute or less, please introduce yourself and summarize your leadership experience. As we shared before, tonight will be a time process, okay?
So just to introduce myself, this is my 21st year in education. I was just a loving teacher. I absolutely enjoyed working as a teacher. I taught in grades, first grade all the way to fifth grade, and had just such a wonderful experience. I also was an assistant principal in another neighboring campus, another neighboring school district. I also was an instructional coach when I arrived here at the Roosevelt School District. And when I arrived here as an instructional coach, it was a wonderful experience to be able to work firsthand with teachers, all the leadership, and just getting to know other schools in this district. I was really pleasantly surprised when I saw how far ahead Roosevelt was in the academic piece and the curriculum adoptions that we were doing. I also was a supervisor for a short period, and a supervisor for preschool, and also for the student records department. I'm currently the director of early childhood and early literacy programs here in the Roosevelt School District.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. First question. Our school board has adopted academic performance goals that will challenge our organization and will require collaboration and continued improvements to daily instruction. Please share your experience in managing this type of change.
So for our district, it was just really important to take a look at new academic goals. We had a 5-year strategic plan, which we converted now into guardrails for the district. Hoping to increase reading and math in different grade levels for our district. The way that I would approach that is an inclusivity process where I would include teachers and parents and students to be a part of that process, making sure that we have a high level of excellence and academic expectations. Using tiered supports for our students, making sure that our students receive level 1, 2, and 3 supports. And what I mean by that is really, are we tailoring our instruction in the classroom to the needs of our students? Also working with families to ensure that they are a part of that decision-making process and understanding those supports that they can also have at home and that they can, how they can be involved in the schools. For teachers, I would just, work with them because we need to make sure that we have that rigor in our classrooms. We need to ensure that our teachers are ready to provide instruction at a high level because our kids deserve it.
Thank you. Question 2. What specific systems or routines do you consider essential for managing an efficient, organized, and effective school? Please share your experiences implementing these types of systems.
Do you mind repeating the question?
Absolutely. What specific systems or routines do you consider essential for managing an efficient, organized, and effective school? Second part of this question. Please share your experience implementing these types of systems.
So one of the pieces that I feel is a really strong area for me, I personally feel that systems and processes is an area that I like to excel in because I feel like if it's a well-oiled machine, it's going to run well. But we always have to, as a leader, be ready for those unexpected things that just happen on a day-to-day basis. But teachers want that. Students want that. They want structure. They want routine. They want to feel when they come to school, they know what to expect. On the background, maybe we're handling, the unexpected, but for our kids, we want to create that stability because we want to have that foundation for them. They don't always come from that background, so we want to be that solid foundation for them. I would do everything I could in my power to ensure that they come to school feeling safe, secured, and heard. So for our campus, that's what you're going to get is a safe, caring environment where they feel that they can come and learn and grow and enjoy their learning too, not just all academics, right? They need to enjoy their learning as well.
Question 3. How would you strengthen staff relationships across grade levels and departments to foster a united school culture? Please share examples of how you've done this in the past.
So for our campuses here, rootedness in our district is such a big thing. Our community thrives in the fact that we have leaders, students who have come back with their own children. I myself am an alumni from Roosevelt School District. So proud of the fact that I attended Jorgensen Elementary as a Jorgensen Jet. I still remember those days that I walked down and didn't want to go to kinder and just walked right back home. And I was like, what am I doing? But hey, as a kinder, I wasn't ready for school. But I want to make sure that our families feel that they are sending their students to a campus where they feel safe and secure. And I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, so a little nervous. Okay, could you repeat the question?
Absolutely. How would you strengthen staff relationships across grade levels, departments, to foster a united school culture? Please share examples of how you have done this in the past.
So making sure that we understand that the stakeholders that we serve, the customer that we serve our students, we serve our families. There are outside stakeholders that we might have collaborations with, bringing in community building. So fostering like after school programs, bringing a bigger awareness to literacy and math and how families can work on that at home. So bringing like a literacy night, and letting families know these are some of the skills that you can work on at home. For teachers, I would foster a a supportive environment where they feel valued, they feel heard, they feel trusted, they feel a part of the process, not just given the process, but a part of it. And they're an important piece, and we're all a partnership in that.
Question 4. How would you ensure consistency in discipline and enforce clear behavior expectations across the school? Share examples of how you would address issues like attendance, tardiness, and student behaviors.
Discipline in a school site is a challenging experience. You can have discipline that is addressed in a holistic approach where you're thinking about the children, not just, here's what they did, here's the consequence. There is a consequence because that's an important thing that we learn as young adults, and we have to ensure that our children learn that. But also teaching them that what are some good decision-making ideas that you can have? What could you have done instead of that? Also, just thinking about restorative practices. I know that you made this decision, but next time, what can we do to improve that? I'm a strong believer in positive behavior intervention programs where our children will feel that they're a part of a community. Hey, you showed excellent skills in walking straight. I love the way you were sitting there learning and using your technology. Really having kind of a voice in the classroom where they know, hey, someone's noticing, someone cares about what I do. I care about what I do. And having everyone on the campus united, everyone on one page, everyone feeling like, hey, if I give, a bull buck or I give a coyote buck, who for this behavior, I know that the next teacher is also. So making sure we're a united front as a school, and if you're going to adopt a positive behavior program, making sure everyone's a part of that. So I love when schools celebrate that through Student of the Month, through assemblies at school, and really communicate that to parents to let them know that we celebrate our children and we value their behavior. Even if it's not always on the positive end, highlighting the students and looking at them holistically, not just, you weren't good today, you weren't making good decisions. Also highlighting just when, maybe they're just sitting straight. So maybe they're just walking in line and not running, just celebrating and noticing the good things about students.
Thank you. Question 5. One of our superintendent guardrails is to ensure a holistic approach towards student development. This includes interscholastic athletics, performing arts, and student leadership development. What impact do you believe sports, performing arts, and programs such as Leader in Me have on school culture? What skills and experiences can you offer in this guardrail?
How much time do I have? Thank you. So for this area, at some point we have to live our real life, developing some of those skills like discipline, just having integrity, developing resilience. All of that is really built through things that we participate in. So when our students feel that, hey, I'm on a soccer team, it's not just it's a team, it makes them start to think like, hey, I'm not in this alone. I have somebody that has my back, or I'm a part of a bigger picture. So making sure our students have those experiences is really, really an important piece. Performing arts, my gosh, that is amazing for our students from the South Phoenix community, for them to be participating in things that are just culturally sensitive, diverse, inclusivity. I just loved it. The other day I met a kid at the track meet. He was running the mile, but he was also going to be dancing in the next performance, at Sunland. So I was like, look at you, and he might like ballerina dancing, or he might like performing arts, but that's what's special about Roosevelt is we're giving those opportunities, and those are called life skills. You and I, we're going to be in a job. They're going to be in a job. So they need to know how to work as a team, and they need to learn how to also understand their talents and say, I'm really good at this, but I might not be good at that, but I'm still going to try. This whole week for me, my logo has been, I can do hard things. They can do hard things.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Last question. How would you approach increasing enrollment? Please share any strategies or experiences you've had in attracting new families and retaining current ones.
So I'm a part of this community, and actually my mom still lives in this community. So I'm always visiting Food City. I'm always visiting Ranch Market. I do not have a problem visiting and standing there with the Roosevelt billboard and saying, where's your kid going? You know, we offer this, this, and this. So for me, I would gladly do things like that. But I think we can also make sure that we're using our marketing to market to outside of our community, outside of the Roosevelt School District. And I love right now what we're doing a lot with social media. I think that's an advantage for us. But I also like making sure our families are spreading the word. The only way they're going to spread the word is honestly if they fall in love with your school, if they fall in love with what's happening, if they fall in love with the academics and the learning. I want to make sure that people feel valued, and I want to make sure that people say, wait, I'm going to take a second look. What's going on with those test scores? We have A and B schools. Wow. So giving them a reason to want to come here. So, and one more important piece is having our staff bring their kids here. They already do that. So that alone to me speaks volumes, knowing that our staff bring their kids here. So that's another piece that I would make sure that we help to increase enrollment.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. That concludes our questions for tonight.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Muchas gracias. Pasen buenas noches.
Staff and community online and those in attendance here, we will take a 5-minute break so that you can gather your notes for the last two candidates. That was Mr. Louis Robles and Ms. Sylvia Miller. And when we come back from break, we will have our last candidate of the night, Ms. Sarah Schaefer. Please welcome our final candidate for tonight, Ms. Sarah Schaefer. Hello, Ms. Schaefer.
Hello. Ooh, louder than I expected.
It has a little kick
Has a
to
punch.
it. Has a little kick to it. All right. So as we've discussed, tonight is a time process. We will start, however, with you using 1 minute or less to introduce yourself and summarize your leadership experience.
Great. My name is Sarah Schaefer. I've been a principal now for 4 years out in the West Side at a school that has both a dual language immersion program and is focused on visual and performing arts. It's been an incredible experience as we raised student achievement and also rebuilt some culture for our families, communities, students, and teachers post-COVID and what happened with that. Before that, I was an assistant principal at 2 different schools, part-time, both very different demographics. And I've taught before that everything from K-8 except second grade. So I always say one day I'll circle back and get that grade in my pocket. But that's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much. First question. Our school board has adopted academic performance goals that will challenge our organization and require collaboration and continued improvements to daily instruction. Please share your experience in managing this type of change.
Absolutely. So I think the first piece of that is really gaining the buy-in from the community of what that looks like at each school and for each set of teachers and students, because everyone's needs are different. And so we really want to make sure that we're not just saying, well, this is what research says. While that's so important, there's so many ways we can apply that that will really benefit our communities and what they need. So my first step would be to really look at our community, bring everyone together and say, hey, this is our goal. How do we want to get there? What are the steps we want to take? Then we'll continue working with teachers to really build communities where we're all in it together, where I'm supporting the teachers and the teams and meeting our student outcomes, making sure that every student learns, because every student is capable of success. We just have to figure them out, work with their families, the teachers, anyone on the campus that can buy in and help to make sure that, we're figuring out that kid's puzzle to get them what they need and meet our overall academic goals as a result.
Thank you. Question 2. What specific systems or routines do you consider essential for managing an efficient, organized, and effective school? Please share your experience implementing these types of systems.
Absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind is most simply ensuring that everyone on campus knows what all those little procedures are for day to day. So what does the master calendar look like? Are we picking the right times for our students to be doing certain activities, learning certain lessons? Do we know the flow to get in and out of the cafeteria so that kids feel safe and are excited to come in rather than coming in overwhelmed because everyone's shoving through the door at once? So making sure that we're all on board and on the same page of what that looks like. That also continues with what does it look like as we work as a team within our school to connect with our community? How do we make decisions so that our community knows the process of a certain school to say, this is how we bring you in to make a decision, so they know who to reach out to and really connect with. Another system that I feel is essential is setting up structures for our teachers to collaborate and grow with each other, and me there as a teammate rather than an administrator. I'm also in it for student success and for everyone to be successful. So I'm a teammate with my teachers and whatever they need. So if we see there's 30 students that need support with a standard and the teacher only has the capacity to pull 20 in a small group that day, the other 10 are coming with me because we're going to meet those goals together. So setting up the system for our teachers to know how they get support, where they can get support, and feeling confident that they can share with each other and also communicate with the parents.
Thank you. Question 3. How would you strengthen staff relationships across grade levels and departments to foster a united school culture? Please share examples of how you have done this in the past.
Absolutely. That's something we're working on this year to continue to raise teacher leadership at the school I'm currently at. So we're showcasing teachers that are doing things well. Every single teacher is an absolute professional and master in their classroom. And sometimes you just need to see another teacher do something and go, oh, I can steal that piece of it. I can take that part and I can just tweak it for my own kids. So really letting the teachers be the leaders, whether that's showcasing a picture, I'm snapping while I'm walking through a classroom, classroom to go, hey, in the last PD, some people asked some questions about data boards. Check out this one that Miss Wilson made. Go see her if you have any questions. So then teachers are able to learn from each other and build that teacher leadership amongst each other, or even coming into professional development sessions and saying, hey, I want to show everybody something really quick. Let's talk through what this could look like at kindergarten and what this can look like at 8th grade. But the teachers are the ones sharing that because they're bought into the goal and know that those strategies have worked in their own classroom.
Question 4. How would you ensure consistency in discipline and enforce clear behavior expectations across the school?
Absolutely. Sorry, go ahead.
Share examples of how you would address issues like attendance, tardiness, and student behaviors.
Absolutely. This is another system we definitely need to be all on the same page in with our parents as well, and all teachers and all staff, because everyone interacts with kids and can hold our kids accountable to the expectations we've set. Remind me of the 3 parts: attendance, tardiness, and student behaviors. Great. So as we set up systems to say, these are non-negotiables at this school. This is what we all believe our students should look and sound like when they walk in the hall, when they're sitting in class, when they're collaborating with each other. We work with our community members to make sure it looks the same for them, so that when we call home and say, hey, Johnny was doing XYZ today, the parent already knows why that's not part of the expectation. And they're like, yeah, Johnny should be supporting with that. So we can build a partnership with our families to make sure that all of our students are acting the way we would want them to act so that they can learn while they're in class. A lot of that, especially in our middle school ages, I've worked a lot with some positive reinforcements. Right now we're implementing a chart where they can earn their own stamps each day for their celebrations. And at the end of the month, they get to go on a celebration field trip. And they are all bought in on that. The younger grades, we've done similar things where they can go to the prize box in the front office, get their name on announcements. So really tapping into what the students want. The kindergartners just want to hear their name on the announcements from me. Great, simple as that. We asked them, what do you want to celebrate with? That was their choice. So getting their buy-in so they're more likely to do it. And we've also worked with some parents to say, hey, what do you think your kids want? What does that look like? So really working all together to implement that.
Thank you. Question number 5. One of our superintendent guardrails is to ensure a holistic approach towards student development. This includes interscholastic athletics, performing arts, and student leadership development. What impact do you believe sports, performing arts, and programs such as Leader in Me have on school culture? What skills and experiences can you offer in this guardrail?
Absolutely. I'm a huge proponent of all of those. I utilize sports as a way to connect with kids that sometimes don't feel successful in the classroom. So maybe they go to math, they're struggling with a concept, but I go to the basketball game at night and I see them dunk that hoop or finally help a teammate out. And there's a way for me to celebrate that student and connect with them and then encourage them in the classroom as well. I've seen amazing things happen when we talk about students, or when we talk about the activities students can do outside of the classroom and gain their buy-in for what they want to do. So I'm always at these events, always cheering our kids on. I currently run a program with our instructional coach at the school for before and after school performing and visual arts, as well as integrating that into the classroom with teacher leadership. And the way that these kids talk about what they're doing in class is incredible. They have no idea that they're doing, informational text reading and informational text writing. They're just so excited they get to perform at the Wax Museum in 2 weeks and all their parents get to come. And then seeing them shine on this stage, kids that I've seen so shy in class get to stand up and hold their thumb out and a random stranger presses their thumb and they get to read their informational text. I mean, that is a huge win for these students to feel confident when they didn't know they could do that before, and they're only 7. So getting to see when we all work together to build these signature activities for our students, or even just the off, hey, you're playing a pickup game at basketball. Like, you should try for the basketball team, and motivating them to step outside their own comfort zone and try something new builds those relationships with me and the students and creates a more positive culture on campus, because when kids feel successful, they want to be in school. So if that success is after school in the football field, great. But we're going to find that success for each kid.
Thank you. Ms. Schaefer, last question.
All right.
All right. How would you approach increasing enrollment? Please share any strategies or experiences you've had in attracting new families and retaining current ones.
Absolutely. So I always say, if we don't tell our story, other people will. And so I'm a huge proponent of advocating to our community. Tell our good story. Get out there and say the amazing things we're doing in our school. But in order to do that, we have to do amazing things. So I love to plan community-wide, not even just our school, open invitation community events that brings in other people together. So our parents can say to their neighbor, like, hey, I know you go to this charter school down the road, but you should really come to our foam bubble party we're having on the field. It's free snacks. Come on by. The parents come by. They have these great connections with their neighbors. Their kids make friends with their neighbors that they've seen playing down the street. They make connections with me and other teachers, and now they want to come to our school because they see the good work we're doing. So as we continue to deliver that message of, yeah, we had this great foam bubble party, but look at else what we're doing for kids. And look over here, and look over here. We're building that throughout the whole community so that we can really showcase our amazing story that we're working on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That concludes our questions for tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
Those of you who are on Zoom, I'd like to thank you, first of all, for participating tonight virtually with us. We would ask that you take the time to complete the survey that is in the chat box. And we will see you at our board meeting on Zoom. Thank you. Thank you. The superintendent, you cannot see her, but she is here in the presence of all of us, and she's been here all night. She is reminding me to share with those of you who are online that the survey link will close at 8 a.m. in the morning. So please take your time, take the notes and feedback that you've been able to take tonight, and give us your input. We really do appreciate that. I say goodnight to those of you online on behalf of our governing board, our superintendent, and our deputy. Thank you. That was for me, you guys, but